Welcome to the Dope Dive Live, where we talk about stuff and things. Today's episode, we're just literally just going to rant about really bad adaptations or adaptations that we just plain old didn't like. Um, Sunny Starblast, joined by wonderful co-hosts King Crazy and Dragon.
Hello.
Papa
Really?
we talk
What?
about bad stuff that no one liked. I mean, no one liked the last movies of Star Wars.
Well, in that case, look at me in my stupid mask. I'm Kylo Ren. Look at me in my cross lightsaber that shouldn't work.
So
Yes,
just
yes,
just so
I do
y'all
look like
know,
Jesus. I look like shaved Jesus.
we're,
Stop saying Jesus.
what we're gonna do is we're gonna give a little spoiler warning before every topic. So if y'all don't want to hear it, y'all can mute us, and we'll go on with our thing.
Yes. Spoiler warning for the trash that is Halo. I mean, I'm being a bit too harsh here, but I mean, as someone who's grown up with both Halo in the novel form and the game form, they just flat out threw some feces in my face in the first 5 minutes of this show.
That's nasty. But
Yeah.
yeah. So Drake is gonna rant about his distaste for Halo.
Yes.
By the way,
So
Master Chief is Cornstash from Orange is the New Black. That's all I want to say, and you guys take it from here.
yeah. Okay. So just to let everyone know in advance, I am not going to cover both episodes of Halo. I am only going to cover the first one. I'm going to give people time to watch the second one as it only just came out a few days ago. So we all can have time to watch it. So my rant is really only focused on the first episode of Halo. So first episode of Halo. The beginning of this episode, it's done right. They're doing the outer colonies. They're doing the inner outer colony war. Things like the if anyone who's read the books, this is all book plot here because there is no because the games only start with the actual first Halo itself. So it basically deals with for anyone who doesn't know about the books, at some point, and I guess the series does it well enough where inner colonies, outer colonies wanted more freedoms, inner colonies wanted to abuse outer colonies more for their resources. A war happens between the two of them, and it's basically the inner outer colony war. Various things also occur during this time, such as the Cold Protocol, which is an actual big point that they I don't even think they'll ever bring up in this series because of how it's being done. Where just give a background of that. That's from a novel as well. Cold Protocol is basically what UNSC enacted to prevent anyone from getting the knowledge of where Earth was, to prevent the risk of Earth falling and taking down the whole inner UNSC with it. So every ship was designed that if they were under threat or were captured, they would instantly enact the Code Protocol to remove all knowledge of the ways to Earth, which is one of the main factors of why the Covenant will for a long period of their actual war can never find or attack Earth is because of the Cold Protocol. But again, it's not going to be brought up at all, most likely in the show. I don't think it will. It's a book based thing, which then gets translated. Okay, going off of backstory, going into the actual reason why I don't like this one. So we start off with this, and then we go, okay. We introduce in a female character who from this point I forgot what her name is, some name. I shall nickname her Cole from Mortal Kombat. It's basically the insert character that they use to try and give people the view of the everyman who doesn't understand the universe. That's what her
I
role.
already don't like her
Yes,
because I
that's
don't like
literally
Cole
what
Young.
her role is. So they spend all this time in the beginning where she runs out with her friends to go smoke some hydrogen. I'm not joking about this. They dig up a plant that apparently has fruits that has hydrogen in it that can get you high. So that's what her friends start eating the fruits, and then she notices a spaceship looking thing over in the corner. So while all her friends are pretty much high in the sky like kites. She goes to investigate, and all she's hearing is these random Covenant noises, some blue glow on the background, and this cave entrance that she could see. Realizing that she doesn't know what the hell is going on, she runs away and goes back to her friends and goes, "Hey guys, um, there's something out there, and I don't know what it is, but it might be dangerous. We need to get back to the city where the cities where the insurrectionists have their big walled city, like you see on the image here in the background. That is the insurrectionist walled city." So the friends are like, "Oh, it must be fun. Let's go check it out." So one person goes, all you see is pew, person's head blown right off, person's body cut off. This show is actually pretty violent. I would give it that much, because I didn't expect to see a teenager suddenly just turn into like a headless, legless corpse in one scene.
Question
Yes.
for that corpse, because I did not watch the show. Um, did they actually show like gore, or
Yes,
was
they
it
actually
just
showed gore. They actually, well, not full on gore, but like you actually saw like a missing head, a missing leg, and like the little blood parts where the thing used to be. Covenant weapons in cauterized kind of wounds, so it doesn't cause like massive like blood explosions that you expect in some of the more gory stuff.
got it?
Yeah. And so then when the friends realize that this is happening, they all start getting wiped out by these Covenant forces, and she runs away. So she hides behind something, takes out a flare from her backpack, fires it off, and the city sees the flare and goes, "Red flare, this guy's daughter's in trouble." So just to give you a bit of background, this lady now known as Cole, her father is the head of this town. So he's the insurrectionist leader. She's his daughter, and that's why once the red flare is signaled, it becomes such a big commotion because they know that it's that his daughter is in trouble. And so she runs back to the city. Everyone's like, "Oh, is it UNSC? How many forces are it?" And she goes, "It doesn't look like UNSC. It's something different. I don't know. I'm scared." And then all you start hearing from the outside is shots and everything, where other people start getting hit. So now the city realizes that they're under attack. The Covenant are coming. They don't know what the Covenant are, and then the first big scene happens where you see elite troops jumping up on the walls, killing people. Elite troops shooting the entrance open. The city telling that they're to hide the women and children while all the insurrections come and start firing. Um, and then it turns into this massive bloodbath where not a single gunshot can harm elites. Like you literally see hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of bullets hit every single elite, and not a single damage to their shield goes through. This is the first inconsistency from this. Now, you know and I know that shields in the Halo universe, while cool, are have limits in terms of how much they can absorb. And you mean to tell me that hundreds of people fire, well, not hundreds, but a good chunk of people firing hundreds of rounds per minute at a single elite person doesn't bring down the shield in the slightest?
Well, maybe it was meant to be like, oh, you have to have specialized weaponry to kill an elite.
Specialized weaponry. Okay, let's think of that idea. So it then goes on where people again massacred left and right. The Covenant just let me phrase that, not the Covenant, the elites, because apparently in this show they don't have the budget to CG any of the creatures and elites. Like you know, and I know from any Halo series, the Covenant has a mix of races. They have the elites, the jackals, the brutes, the grunts.
Oh, the little gremlin guys.
Yeah, so they have a whole bunch of different things, and in everything, they always send the grunts in first. The grunts are meant to weaken up a place and to take all the damage. That's literally what their role is. And yes, even the elites do this in the games where grunts go in first and the elites come after. So it's not to say like it's a thing where elites have pride or crap like that that they go man. So to see not a single grunt on this mission and only elites doing this puts me in a bit of disbelief here, because I don't think the Covenant is that segregated where where each faction only has themselves and no other species with them. But I mean, it's a minor gripe. I digress. So we reached a point where we have a Mexican standoff where the one elite person kills a whole bunch of kids. The leader of the city is shooting at him. and then suddenly you see a pelican in the distance, and you hear the Halo music kicking in, and then you're like, okay, we know what's coming. We know what's coming. Spartans drop off from the sky like they're ODSTs without a single piece of thing on them to stop their fall, and they just Superman in this. I I I do not joke about this. They're all doing Superman post landings on from the sky, and this is maybe easily a good number of feet up in the air because this thing was higher than the actual city walls. And Spartans just jumping out like, "Yep, yeah, I'm good, I'm good," which makes a bit sense because their Mjolnir armor is meant to absorb a lot of damage. But it's still kind of funny to see them all Superman it.
Okay.
So now comes a triple standoff. The elite is targeting Master Chief because he's here, and the team behind him is called Team Silver. So these are the four Spartans that were sent in to help the insurrections. Then you have the insurrectionist leader who's aiming at Master Chief, and then you have Master Chief himself. The insurrectionist leader, I mean, a bit of an idiot here. You literally have an alien behind you that's killing all your troops, and now you see Master Chief come in, and then you decide that Master Chief is a bigger threat, and you start shooting Master Chief. Chief just shrugs off these bullets, jumps over, and takes down the elite in like 3 shots from his. What's the machine gun that they use? I forget what it's called. It's a standard issue UNSC machine gun. Assault rifle.
Okay.
Machine, assault rifle. The standard issue one.
Okay. I have the show up. I think it's muted, but I'm just like skipping ahead.
Yeah.
Everybody's looking at the aliens like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
And everybody's getting killed. They keep cutting to Cole Young.
Yep. They keep cutting to her. Going through her plot while everyone else is dying behind. But you understand where I'm coming from here. These people are firing countless rounds into these Covenant soldiers, and not a single person's shield is getting taken down by it. And then Master Chief comes in, fires 3 shots from his assault rifle, and the shield goes down. And then he kills that one Covenant. And I go to
The,
myself, that is just the power of plot armor there. That literally against brunt insurrectionists, the plot armor in these Covenant are so strong that not a single one of them gets taken any damage. Not a single one of them. You literally need a Master Chief and the Spartan saviors to come in and actually kill Covenant.
yeah.
Even
Just
in the games and also the books, regular humans have been able to take out Covenant's units without relying on a Spartan to do it. It just takes a lot of firepower. And I mean, if you have that many bullets firing, I'm assuming that's enough firepower to even take down a Covenant. Even if you can't kill them, at least show some of them getting injured from their shields going down and taking some bullets. Nope, not a single one of the Covenant had any shields dissipate in that entire time that the Insurrectionists were firing at them. But again, you see, as King Crazy Lightning brought up, it might just be the weapons are ineffective. Okay, okay. So this whole battle scene happens. I won't go too in details with it. It ends with basically everyone dying except for um the Spartans who all survive, Cole Young who survives herself,
plot
and
armor.
full on plot armor, and that's it. Everyone else in this place is dead, and her dad is basically just didn't want to live. Because and at the end of that whole scene, an elite was coming towards her for whatever reason. This one elite has a massive grudge against her, probably because she doesn't exist in the real show, and he just wants to get her out of the Halo series. I would have let him do it if I really had the chance. But then
Okay.
daddy decides, okay, you can't have my daughter. And instead of doing the smart thing and fire from afar, he runs towards the elite while firing. His weapon, which he knows is completely ineffective, which hasn't done a single thing to a single elite the entire time they have attacked. He runs towards the elite. Elite just grabs him right by the neck and then stabs him in the chest with a sword. I'm like, he just wanted to die. For you being the leader of an insurrectionist movement, I mean, use your brain, man. Use your brain. If this was just some random person in the place that didn't really know well and was panicking, I could see that happening. You are the leader of this insurrections group. You literally were praised by UNSC as being such a good insurrections leader that they had problems with, and you just run towards the elite while shooting him, knowing you do no damage, and then you get yourself choked and stabbed.
Okay, so something I should point out. I am seeing the Gatling guns that were being used by the insurrectionists,
Yes,
and
those
Master.
actually work.
Yeah, those work and nothing else.
So here's the funny part: those work when Master Chief uses them. But you mean to tell me that the entire time the insurrectionists were under attack, not a single Gatling gun wasn't used at that point against elites? You see where I'm coming
Okay,
with this, right? So it doesn't matter. Weapons in the hands of insurrectionists doesn't affect the plot armor of the elites. Only when it comes in the hands of the Spartans does it overcome their plot armor.
right.
That was my first problem with the show. I'm like, I understand you wanted to make this scene to make the Spartans the most badass thing since sliced bread, but at the same time, it doesn't make sense to sacrifice real world sense to do this. If you showed me maybe a few elites on the ground dead before this happened, I'm like, okay, at least the instructions are doing something. They're still being massacred, but they're doing something. No, you literally have every single elite walk away like, ah, man, this is just like minor bee stings, not even a sting, because I don't get anything on me. My shields are the best thing ever. It's dumb. It's poor story writing. You don't have to sacrifice the integrity of your story just to make a group of people look badass. It doesn't work. So now that we go on to the first thing, the other big problem that this show has. So Master Chief reports in that, oh yeah, everyone that's in the interaction thing is dead. Then Cole Young comes out. He's like, oh, scratch that. One person survived. So now he picks her up. She's like, "Hey, you can't leave me here. You're gonna leave me to die." And he's like, "Yeah, okay." And they just walk out and leave her as the only person inside the this dead place. Like there's literally no one else there. She's left alone with her and with her, everyone that she's known and loved, massacred.
Right.
And the Spartans go and check out the cave where the Covenant were. So they find out that the Covenant will unearth in this Forerunner artifact. They haven't mentioned this Forerunner yet because it's just a alien artifact, so everyone's assuming this is Covenant technology. And Master Chief touches it, and the thing comes to life. Now, this is fine because Master Chief does this in the Halo series as well, where he has touched Covenant technology before, Forerunner technology, and it has come to life before. That's fine. But how this show sets it up is to be like, he's the chosen one. I'm just like, really?
Okay.
Really? Is that how? Yes.
Okay. So I'm up to the part where they have entered the cave.
Yep.
Master chose this thing. There was a covenant, sorry, an elite in there. Goes invisible. This girl followed them to the cave for some reason. Gets
Yes.
kind of just knocked over, not killed, just bumped into, I guess.
Bumped into and her head lands on a rock.
She's fine.
She's completely fine. Yes, but that was right after the point when Master Chief activates the Forerunner device. The only problem is that they make how the whole scene is set up is to make it look like Master Chief is a chosen one. And I mean, don't get me wrong, Master Chief is meant to be like this big savior of Halo because he does a lot of stuff that other people don't. But it's really a guy against the odds who's doing the best he can. It's not like he was destined to be the savior. That the Halo at no point
Oh,
has ever really. He was given. He was the best trained of his group in terms of being the top of his grades. He was given Cortana because Halsey liked him. But I mean, he's been put in situations the same as all the other Spartans, and he's just one of the few that have survived it. He's just that battle trained.
no, 'cause I was just remembering a Halo, was it 4? With the dialect, and then he met this
That's the
god
problem, though.
type.
Halo 4 is not Bungie. I'm talking this Bungie level of how they wanted to set up the character here. Halo 4
Got
is
it. Okay.
343, who's changed up how they wanted Master Chief to be to better suit their narrative. So I can understand they would use 343's way of saying Halo Master Chief is a thing, but that isn't really known this early. Like, it really, the first time this happens is when he actually just did the Halo itself. I understand you want to take liberties and make their own story, so Elites come in Covenant comes in far earlier than expected. Um, the the Forerunner technology comes in far later than expected as well. But it's fine. I'm okay with that. I mean, if you want to write your own thing, that's so. I mean, I'll go back to where you went, King Crazy. So he picks up the girl because he felt bad for being knocked out unconscious and alive, and he takes onto the ship with him. Okay, now we cut to the
Halsey.
Halsey and the UNSC, and this is where my stupid meter goes into full drive in terms of how dumb UNSC is here. So UNSC, the leader goes, "Hey Halsey, you know that your Spartans, that no one there was no survivors except for one person from that. That's going to look bad for on all the news that your Spartans didn't save anyone. You know this can affect funding for your Spartan project." And I go to myself, are you seriously saying that you will cut funding to the one project that's actually killing Covenant? In the middle of a war where humanity is losing to the Covenant, you are willing to pull this line saying that they will cut funding to the one project that's actually bringing results just because they couldn't save an insurrectionist base that y'all don't care about. UNSC is dumb. That's literally my dumb counter for UNSC in this universe. They are dumb.
But
Now, King,
Dracon, it's the political intrigue that you love in Halo.
political intrigue can only go so far when it's sensible decisions. Like if you told me Halsey was going way beyond all of her parameters, like saying she was trying to incorporate Covenant tech into a Spartan that they don't know about, then I can see UNSC stopping that. You mean to tell me that their card played is that because her Spartans did not save an insurrectionist base that they came late to that was already being massacred by elites, and the fact that her Spartan brought back the Forerunner technology was not enough for them to not threaten her to cut her funding. Seriously? That was my first red flag there, that the UNSC is dumb. My second red flag, which happens in the same scene, is where Halsey goes towards where the UNSC person goes towards this extra room and goes, "Didn't we tell you to stop this project?" And she's like, "Oh, it is stopped. It's on ice." He's like, "No, that's not on ice. You are not going to continue that." And she goes, "But Cortana." And it's like, "No, there's going to be no cloning, no Cortana. That's it." So I go to myself, you're in a time of war. You're under attack by an alien force which is decimating your people, insurrections as well. You want to threaten to cut the Spartan project, which is the most effective means to stop the Covenant right now. And you also want to cut funding to any other projects that might be able to help benefit you against the Covenant, which is cloning, which would be great to add more soldiers when you really need actual fodder against the Covenant, and AI research, which is Cortana, who can help you in many ways. UNSC is dumb. Again, this is silver age stupiditude of a military organization.
I could say something about the use of clones in Space Wars, but that's not really a Halo thing.
Now, I
So
understand you may have reasons to not do this because of like the human concerns about it, but when you are fighting a war where you are losing because the humans aren't winning against, the humans don't even know what Hell Covenant wants. And Halsey is telling, "Hey, I can give you an advantage by helping with cloning and AI technology here." And you'll say, "No, no, 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 sorry. We can't touch that. No, no, no. We can build nuclear bombs, but we can't touch that. No,
it's
that's
like
too far,
okay,
Halsey."
it's like if this person brought up my reasoning for not using clones in war, then it would have been okay, there was this game way back in the day. I probably mentioned on this channel how many times Xenosaga, and
Yes.
there was a guy who was part of a squad that was essentially basically Frankensteined from fallen soldiers so that they could be rolled back into wars. But
They,
then the war ended, and they were still there, and war was the literal only thing that they've ever known. And they were just supposed to just go back into regular life when really they kind of were built with PTSD, like just built in, which led to problems. Like this, like the idea of building a clone and then leaving that clone after the war is over is a psychiatric clusterfuck.
Yep, but I mean that doesn't stop them from putting in fail safes in the clones that once they reach a certain point in life they die.
Yeah,
They literally stopped the cloning, the whole research on cloning before it even became an actual. Like, see, I can understand if UNSC was about this if they tested clones before and it failed horribly, like something like Mass Effect, where AI research led to the death and that's why it's banned. I can understand if the UNSC was from that perspective, but no, this is brand new technology which hasn't been tested yet, and they're like, nah, nope, 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 cut it down, shut it down. We don't want it. And
yeah,
I'm just
that's
like,
actually happened. Oh no, go ahead.
like, yeah, for me, I'm just like, you guys are idiots. You just don't want to win this war. You want to shut down the Spartans. Now you want to shut down cloning. Well, what do you want?
Pretty much, like Xenosaga got like it's like it wasn't it was new technology, but then they were like, okay, some of these people are actually going batshit insane. We have done personality reconditioning 9 times on this one guy, and it's not working. But hey, let's crank it up to level 10 and see what that does. Nope, didn't work. So they just cut that cord completely.
Yep.
It was problematic. Then they built artificial people, which led to other problems. There's other problems, but anyway, so just got to the part where Cole is captured. Well, not captured,
She's
but
captured. She's literally trapped on a ship where she's not able to do anything. And this is you know what? Originally, I saw this as a dumb UNSC moment, but then it turned into a smart UNSC moment, where Miranda Keys, who people should know from the Halo games, is questioning Cole because she's the only insurrectionist left, and he want Miranda wants her to give a speech to all the insurrectionists, telling them about what happened here, so that they'll believe that this is the thing. And then Cole's mind is like, and this is just Cole being an idiot here. Oh gosh. Well, you know what? I could tell them that this was all a UNSC plot and that y'all chose to do this and kill all our people and try to make me cover it up. Oh, what would happen if I did this? Ah, oh yeah. And then Miranda's like, so what do you want? I want independence my world. I go,
for what people?
for what people? Your entire city is dead. You might have other people on that planet. Given, okay. What leverage do you have? If they showed the camera footage of any Spartan, because I mean, you actually see in this show Spartan camera footage where they in first person doing some of the stuff in certain scenes. So you can tell me they can pull from any Spartan footage that they came and helped you out. You have no ground to try and argue with the UNSC about this, and she has the audacity to try and blackmail them. And so Keys just stops and leaves. And here originally I thought this was going to be a dumb moment, but it actually comes back to a plot point later where they basically do it order 66 to kill her. They literally just put in that order. I forgot what the exact number was in the show, but it's basically Star Wars Order 66. Go kill her at a later point. So
Like, is it,
I didn't follow UNSC for that one because they made the right move. If an insurrectionist didn't want to play ball and she was threatening to lie about what happened for no reason, and again, how was this meant to make people like Cole? I don't know because this writing to me just tells me that she just doesn't care. Like she is not grieving that her entire people and thing died. She's threatening because she's like, yeah. I'll make y'all look bad on the media that y'all put me on just so this is not to say like y'all will pre-record the message before I send it out so that they know I can't do this crap. She has no cards and she's trying to play like she has all the cards. She's an idiot. Moving on, we go towards where she's on the ship. Mashif is on the ship with her. Apparently, Pelicans are interstellar spacecraft now. I didn't even know that until this move. Until this, I thought Pelicans always came on board of actual capital ships because they were just meant to be going from space to Earth, not actually used to go across to different worlds. Because I don't know if Pelicans have show up with Yukawa drives to actually be able to travel slip space.
to be honest, I am kind of skipping ahead in this episode. They are talking a lot.
They are talking a lot, yes. So so now comes idiot moment, and this is a massive idiot moment here. And I mean, I could fault him a little bit because he's not the smartest tool in the shed, just being a trained child soldier to become a warrior. But she's talking to Cole, and she goes, "We met before. You killed my mom. Y'all said that there was this terrorist plot to kill the insurrection, so y'all came in to kill my mom." And I go to myself, okay, if that's what the UNSC is using that as their main reason, understandable. That's the story they give everyone. Now the stupid moment happens when Master Chief goes, "Oh yeah, no, that's not the reason why we went in." I'm like, wait, are you about to divulge UNSC secrets to an insurrectionist child because she told you that you killed her mom? Did no one drill UNSC um state of secrecy into Master Chief Super Soldier?
Is this before or after they try to kill her?
This is before they try to kill her. This is when they were
Okay.
first talking, and he literally tells her, because yes, and that's the other part. This is before before the order to kill her. And he literally tells her what exactly happened. I'm like, wait, did Master Chief, a UNSC soldier, tell a insurrectionist girl that he has captured that they actually covered up a story, made a fake story, and went to just kill the entire insurrectionist leadership? Something that if she were to now go say in public, can damn the UNSC for war crimes.
So they just got up to the part where Chief takes his mask off, and all I can see is porn stash from Orange is the New Black.
Yes. So I'm leading up to that, but you see where I'm coming from here. The UNSC are so dumb that they can't train their super soldiers to keep their mouth shut. I mean, you can blame, oh, it's the artifact's fault. It's the artifact's fault. The artifact is responsible for one thing: removing the block on Chief that he can remember stuff. That's it. It doesn't remove years upon years of military indoctrination that he is meant to be a soldier fighting an alien menace to protect the UNSC. And he divulges major military secrets to this girl. Yeah, like I said, this is stupid. This is just dumb. Master Chief will never do this. But I digress. We're moving on now. So the order 66 comes in as King Crazy was talking about, where Master Chief gets a signal to kill her. And you know what Master Chief's response is? Instead of killing her, he decides to disable the cameras inside the ship. Now, you know and I know that before you take this drastic step, a simple, hey, do we really need to kill her? She could have useful information that we can use on insurrectionists, whatever, because she's the daughter of an insurrectionist leader. Did talking at any point come into his mind? Why is the first thing that he decides to do is remove the camera footage of the entire ship so no one can see what was going on inside the ship? Again, this is a guy who's been indoctrinated from young to be the perfect super soldier for them, and it's these type of stupid decisions that UNSC has done in their training that is making him do these dumb moves, aka the plot.
Okay,
And then,
so here's my question.
yes,
So let's say in the games, while while the war is still going on, let's say the scenario happens, what would video game Master Chief do?
okay, first off, video game Master Chief would not have just straight up executed the girl at this point, because it at this point their focus was the Covenant. The moment Covenant came to the pit here, the insurrection war became a moot point because the insurrectionists were all but destroyed by the Covenant.
Okay.
And also, Master Chief knows in the video game that he was taken as a kid, because they never really removed their memories. They just told them, "Hey, we need you to be part of something greater. Are you willing to take this?" And that was Halsey's indoctrination from young. She didn't take their memories. She just instilled a sense of nationalism into them. And then they
Okay.
went through the whole Spartan process. They became Spartans. A lot of them got disfigured. Some survived. Some became really good. Master Chief in this scenario would have been like, well, aside from not having the thing, he would have just followed orders. He would not have. He would have killed on the spot probably if she was not needed, but he would have followed orders. because this is pre Halo Master Chief here. He followed all orders. He literally was doing it to for UNSC to win against the Covenant. If they told him that shutting her up would ensure that they would not have to fight themselves against the Covenant, he would have done it.
Yep.
Like I said, they changed it up. They wanted to try and be like, oh, the UNSC stole my memories. Okay, no, I'm gonna rebel against them. And I'm just thinking to myself, this is dumb reasoning here. The first thing he should have done was just talk it out. But anyway, going back. So now UNSC decides to do the nuclear option here. They go, oh God, Master Chief has betrayed us. He's taking the cameras off. They didn't choose to message the ship and be like, hey, Master Chief, your cameras are down. Why did you take the cameras off? They did nothing. They're like, oh no, he's rogue. That's their first thing in their mind. He's rogue. They don't need nothing else goes through their mind about this. They go nuclear. They go cut the oxygen. We're just going to take him when he's unconscious. Our strongest military asset, who has been known time and time again to do some really crazy stuff. We're just going to take him down by shutting down his oxygen. And this is the point where Chief goes from I'm a UNSC soldier to I'm a UNSC rebel. Yeah. All because of Cole Young. Not because of the fact that UNSC were like burning and massacring worlds. All because of Cole Young. UNSC is stupid. Their training is stupid. Again, I'm just going to keep pushing this into the point that this whole Halo series is just done dumb.
Okay, so I'm at the part where Chief, still not wearing his mask, is making his escape. Everyone is shooting, but Halsey's just looking downright impressed.
Yeah, okay. So before we go to that, that's the other thing. In order to stop her from shooting him, when he's in full Mjolnir armor and can easily backslap her and stop her from shooting him, he goes, "Hey, I'm gonna take my helmet off. If you want to kill me, aim upwards." And to myself, I'm thinking, "Hey, what if she just has a trigger finger because she's never shot a weapon before and just blast Master Chief's brains out? Wouldn't that be funny?" Master Chief is dumb. And then further on to that, when he now has control of the Pelican again and he's trying to get away, he leaves his helmet off. In a situation where you're under attack by a whole bunch of forces that you know are coming to kill you,
Not the Spartans.
Spartans included, he has his helmet off trying to pilot that thing the entire time. I'm just like, this reminds me of, for anyone who's ever read Halo for Contact Harvest, not Contact Harvest, it's Ghost of Onyx. If anyone has ever read the Halo Ghost of Onyx books, there is a Spartan in that called Kurt, who he was the UNSC staged his death so they can take him so he can become the trainer for Spartan 3s and future Spartan projects. At one point, they are under attack from Forerunner and Covenant. And he says, okay, time for me to suit up to help protect my students, whoever's still alive on this planet. So on one side, he has his Spartan 2 Mjolnir armor, which is, we all know how broken Spartan 2 armor is. And then on the other side is this completely downgraded, mass-produced Spartan 3 armor. And he goes, oh, Spartan 2 was a life ago. I want to take Spartan 3 armor because I believe I'm going to be like my troops. I go to myself, your entire world is under attack by Forerunner and Covenant forces. You are trying to protect whoever's still living of your team. You don't want to take the stronger Spartan 2 armor that is meant to keep you alive and help you do your job better, and you take this crappy mass-produced Spartan 3 armor instead that is a massive downgrade from the original one. All because of some type of caring about your people. You just want to die. This is the same scenario here. Chief just wanted to die. He took his helmet off in front of an insurrectionist who had a gun because he wants to be human and she could have shot him easily. He is under attack where a stray bullet through the Pelican could have shot and killed him. Or just the Pelican tipping over and him hitting his head on something because he doesn't have his helmet on. This is the same scenario. Chief is dumb. This is just poor writing because they wanted to not do Mandalorian and give Pornstache more screen time by having his helmet off. There's no reason why this should have happened this way.
Or
And
maybe
then
because Master Chief is so good at being a soldier, he could dodge bullets and grabbed the gun, and completely disarmed her. All with his helmet off.
yeah, I'm just going BS in that. And then just the cherry on top of all of this, to escape being captured by the UNSC, Master Chief, not even knowing what the hell this technology does, because all it did when he first touched it was just show a symbol. That was it. It showed no properties of shutting down stuff. Now, if you told me in the earlier scene when he first got it that it knocked his suit or other things off temporarily offline because it has like an EMP style capability, I say, oh, okay, it's just a Chekhov gun setting up for a future scene. No, this instead becomes a Deus Ex Machina moment where, oh, look at it. He touches the foreign technology. It shuts down everything in a massive wide radius of it, knocking off all the soldiers' weapons, knocking off all the technology, so he can fly a pelican and escape, even though his pelican should also be shot. Why? And this is all the span of one episode. So in this one episode, the first episode is meant to get you into this. We have lack of budget to have other races with the Covenant. Stupid decisions made by insurrectionists, UNSC, and Master Chief, who's supposed to be a protagonist. Introduction of Cole Young, who's meant to be the everyman that no one gives a damn about. Master Chief betraying UNSC in the first episode to join insurrectionists because he felt bad killing a girl. What? Really? Really? I mean, I'd be more believable if he saw like UNSC like glassing a planet to stop insurrectionists from taking over. Something like that would be more believable. But because a girl, really? And
Like,
then Forerunner Deus Ex Machina technology. I understand Forerunner tech is broken. It makes sense, but when he has no knowledge that Forerunner tech can cause EMPs that shut down everything, and he just decides, hey, this is my last resort. Where if come on, you and I know in-game Master Chief would have just suited up, broken down that door, and started shooting up everyone. Am I wrong? Am I wrong, King Crazy? Isn't that what regular Master Chief would have done? Hello, King, you there?
I'm there. I'm just okay. So while I was watching the Halo show, I was also looking at some clips from Starship Troopers.
Yes.
Good movie, by the way.
It's like Starship Troopers was basically this, but better.
Yeah, and Starship
Because
Troopers was satirical. It was intentionally made to be to basically be a play on something. It wasn't meant to be taken seriously. This is meant to be taken seriously. That is really what this show was meant to be. It was like, yeah, we are introducing a show that's meant to be taken seriously, and this is what we want to do. And the span of one episode, they have set up. Oh right, I forgot to mention one other thing. Apparently, the Covenant also has a human now, and this human is the chosen one. So apparently, Covenant has been abducting children and indoctrinating them into the Covenant ways, which is also a
right,
difference from the Halo story where Covenant treats humans as because if you read Contact Harvest, they found that humans were capable of activating Forerunner tech, and because of that, they would the specific leaders of the Covenant were jealous of this, hid that secret, and put the order to kill all humans. That's the literal reason why humanity was targeted for destruction, because the Forerunner leadership, the new leadership, found out that humanity could access Forerunner tech, and they didn't want that to happen.
right.
So this show gives me no reasons why the Covenant wants to kill humanity in such en masse, even when they take over. Like I understand that you have a chosen one who is one of them, but at no other point do you tell me why you're killing Covenant humans.
Maybe it's just standard evil alien stuff.
Yeah, it's dumb. So in one episode, I have no faith in this show. The first 20 minutes was a really nice action scene, but that's all it had. It was just all fluff, no depth. We have a character who no one will care about, Cole Young. At this point, she's basically self-insert, does nothing.
Okay. And like the reason I brought up Starship Troopers is because basically you got these people in armor, you got aliens, everybody's got bullets, and everybody's just fighting. But I wanted to check out like the actual like effects, and both have CGI, but Star Troopers use more practical effects, like with
Yes.
actual props. So it looks like in some areas look more realistic, but it's like I can understand why practical effects aren't used that much anymore because you can just type up some shit on a computer and there it is. But with this show, it's like actually, hold on, let me get a good example. Um, 1 second. When those kids are getting shot in the beginning
Yeah.
by the Covenant, it's like you said that. Oh yeah, they lost body parts, but they didn't really show them. It's like one of those like blink and you miss it kind of things.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, when I say lose body parts, as in like the body part gets completely disintegrated. Like you see, like the whole head gets blown off, the whole leg gets blown off. But you don't see any. You just see like the stubs of it of left on the person's body.
Right. Meanwhile, you'll have a movie like Starship Troopers where you'll see people like when people get shot, people get shot.
Yeah.
It's like you will see like part of a dude's head just get carved out because of the bullets. So
Yep.
so it's like, and that was using practical effects. So yeah,
Here's the funny part about that. Let me actually take a quick look here. What was the actual cost to film Starship Troopers? Starship Troopers cost. So Starship Troopers had a budget of $100 million for a 1.5 hour movie, which um come into modern day, that should be about almost 200 mil when you count inflation.
mhm.
Um, Halo is a 9 episode series where they're spending $10 million per episode. So being much longer, I can definitely understand where CG one they have to cut corners because of although 10 million per episode is it's a damn lot, but when you compare it to what the budget of Starship Troopers was to do in a shorter period of time and look better, I could give Halo the benefit of the doubt that CG costs a lot and not always the best done.
And 1 second, skipping ahead.
Yeah, so I'm just only going to focus on the episode 1. I'm not going to do episode 2 because, like I said, people want to watch it. People are watching. I don't want to spoil that for them if they haven't watched it yet. So I've only focused this rant on the first episode. I will give a rant on this again many months down the line when the series is over, which is like 7 weeks from now. How the series goes? Is it going to be? Is it going to be able to redeem itself, or is it going to become a Game of Thrones turd after season 1?
Pretty much. And
Yeah.
okay, so
Oh, also one more thing, King. I forgot to mention this. Is any character in the first episode, since you've also skimmed through it, did you like any character in that first episode?
uh, I don't care.
There were only 3 characters in that episode I liked, and that was because they'd had barely any screen time and they didn't talk much, and that's Silver Team. Because
Yeah,
they did some
pretty
action
much.
screens, and that was it. They were out. And then when Halsey told them, "Hey, you protect Chief," oh yeah, that's the other dumb moment I forgot to mention. Halsey is telling Spartans, "Yo, it's okay for you to massacre tons of UNSC troops to protect Master Chief." I'm thinking to myself, Halsey, did you just set your this new team up who are loyal to you because they were Spartans, they were raised by you, to massacre UNSC troops just to protect Master Chief, who is being an idiot?
Okay, so here's the thing. And again, I skimmed through this on mute.
Yeah.
So unless it has subtitles, I had no idea what was going on or
Yeah.
whatever I was saying, except for just what was on screen. But already, I already know what I would have done differently. Like, okay, yeah, you have the insurrectionists, fine, but instead of having like, okay, yeah, show what's her name having fun with her friends, blah blah blah, but then you have soldiers come down, and it is indeed the whoever's silver team, but they were not. But first off, no one's getting killed yet. We're getting there, and then you have them go to the cave that she was just at. She tells her, she tells her dad, and they're gearing up to fight the silver team. But again, they're not even registering these people. They're just going to check this place out and bounce. Then Chief touches the thing that activates stuff, and it's Forerunner tech. But due to reasons, now you get the Covenant. They show up here because Chief touches the thing. Now you get these people getting massacred. Then Silver Team jumps in, and then now Chief has a reason to not kill this girl because he touched the thing. That's other chain of events that led to her people getting massacred. Then she'd
You're
have a
correct.
reason to be pissed about being told to tell what happened, but also like okay, she wouldn't know that he touched the thing, but still, it'd be something.
Yeah, and
Like
he
okay,
should have felt guilty about it because he caused the massacre of the people. Some better trigger than how they did it. I completely agree with you. That would have been a much better way to tell the story.
or he touches the thing. They like it's like she's already back at wherever. She does the thing. Like they would see Spartans, and then they would see Covenant. So
Yeah.
some assumption because she's a kid would be made that
Mm.
the Covenant are part of the UNFC
Mm.
or
See,
whatever they're
now
called.
here's where I would have considered this as a second option of a different way to tell this story. If they want to be completely different from Halo lore, but still make it close enough that people will enjoy it.
Mhm.
Have the human insurrectionist war. Have this scene happen where Master Chief touches the thing and something happens where you see the thing glows. Where I would have actually loved to see this going, the most wild out option is if then all of a sudden the city, there's hairs are shaking, and you're like, why is the city shaking? Because there's just massive waves coming out from the device shaking the entire planet, and you see that a lot. If you want to have a like on space, feel free to. And then the ground in the middle of the city breaks apart, and below are these Forerunner ruins. And they're like, what the hell is this? And then you hear a noise, and they don't know what this noise is. And then they see some little creature comes out from the thing, and they're like, what the hell is this? The creature goes, lashes on it, and kills the first person. This would be a nice way to retell Halo. That Forerunner tech was meant to hold the flood in place, and that was one of the areas where the flood was stored. And Master Chief accidentally released the flood by touching the thing. And the Covenant picks up the signal, realizing that they've picked up a Forerunner signal. They know that this means another infestation is happening in the galaxy, and they come to glass that planet because they don't want to cause a flood infestation of the world. But no one will know that. They will just assume Covenant appears when Forerunner technology comes in. They blow up an entire planet. Hey, wouldn't that
Yeah,
be an interesting spin as well? The fact being that now the Flood is the antagonist, but at the same time, people don't understand sides. And Chief still believes that he's the reason why the Covenant came to destroy because they never showed up in the city. The city itself is just getting wiped out by flood. And it's she, and if you want to keep cold, she escapes from the city, being the only survivor. And the Covenant glasses everything, and Master Chief and them were able to save her in time before the whole planet gets glassed by the Covenant. That would have
yeah,
been an interesting way to do this as well if they wanted to really spin Halo on its sides and introduce all three major factions at the start. I would have liked that as an option as well.
Yeah, but then we come to the issue that you brought up the issue multiple times. What do we do with Cole Young?
See, no, this is where I would have used Cole. Cole would have now become a new Spartan. Like they would, you wouldn't see her much. You would be like, hey, Halsey's like, here's what they're new threats. We need to bring more Spartans. She would become one of the first Spartan 3s, and that's how you would introduce her. Where Spartan 2s were taken as kids because they found kids being the best way to train them from young. They've learned and how to properly do Spartan programs now. To the new Spartan 3s, they can bring a much older audience with less restrictions required because they need to get a more mass use force out there, and she becomes one of the main ones of them. I could see that being working out that way. She becomes a Spartan
Right.
3. She becomes like she'll now join like Chief and others on missions because Spartan 3s will now help bolster the Spartan 2's dwindling forces since they've been losing troops because of all the various war engagements that have been going on.
Actually, question. Because all the Spartans were kids when they were made into Spartans.
Spartan
Right?
2s were, Spartan 3s were as well, but you can tweak the story to say that Spartan 2s were the sample size, and then Spartan 3s were meant to be not as advanced as the 2s, but to be more mass produced in higher numbers, so they can take a higher age pool.
I know, like I feel like there would be a way, like, okay, ooh, idea. All the lore that's in Halo already about how Spartans are made, that's still established. But here you have this girl who just saw Master Chief take out a shit ton of the aliens that killed her people. So they take her because of all the shit that we already said. And then he's about to drop her off to wherever, but they have to stop at wherever Halsey is.
Mm-hmm.
She runs into Halsey. She figures out, or someone says that she's the one who made the Spartans. She goes up to Halsey, make me a Spartan.
Yeah.
And obviously they can't do that, but she wants to get back at the aliens. So like at least have her like go to like military school. I'm sure they still have that.
Not
So
military school, but basically the Spartan 3 program. Like I said, you basically mass produce new Spartans. You're like, okay, we can't make you like John, but we can make you the next best thing.
perfect. And you have a bunch of people who are all here for whatever reason, but she's like one of the few there that actually saw the Covenant in action.
Yep.
So
To make it even better, you realize it's all orphans of worlds which have been destroyed, or cities which have been destroyed by Covenant. That's how Halsey gets the next batch. She's just taking in orphans on the side, no one notices.
okay, let's see. What else? What else? Uh,
So yeah,
right.
so basically, I see if they didn't want to do Halo based on the actual story that is set up, your way of how you set it up and the way how I just set it up are two good alternatives that they could have done instead of this piece of trash that they made here.
Yeah. Or if
Because
anything,
no one wants to see Master Chief join the rebels. What? What?
and also keep your goddamn helmet on.
Yes.
But then
It
how
is
will
so
they
so
know
now
that it's
now
porn
I want to
stash?
see what cockamamie excuse they're gonna use to have Master Chief get with Cortana. Because apparently since first episode, he is what is Halsey going to betray UNSC as well, and she becomes a rogue person building stuff on the side? Is that what they're gonna do?
Like everyone's just portraying the UNFC because they're like the absolute worst apparently.
It makes no sense, and it's just how the whole setup for this I felt was just really dumb, and they didn't know how to properly use. So the writers for this are just dumb. That's just how I see it.
Right. It's like what they could have done was had a story in the Halo universe, but not involve Master Chief too much. Like have like a story starring Silver Team,
No, I
and
could be
then you
fine. I could be fine. Master Chief being the main thing because he's the big driver. But you basically only have him when it comes time for like missions where it's like, okay, we need this to happen. Master Chief and Silver Team, you all again dropped into this. okay, you'll have to team up with these other teams because we have this major offensive to do. Something like that. You bring him in for the action scenes, but you really develop the other stuff in the side.
Oh, actually, um, Agent Locke from Halo 5. Just make the show about him.
I mean, they do have that character who I think is probably is introduced in the second episode. The black guy, I forget his name. He is meant to be that type of character who's like Locke.
Yeah, but
Yes.
but Mike Holt is still like alive and looks like that. So like I might as well call him.
Yeah, so like I said, I felt that they did not do the Halo franchise justice. I felt that what they could have done with this was just make any generic alien race and name the show something else, and people would have never considered this as Halo.
Yeah. Actually, question. Um, Damn it, Agent Locke's team. What was it called? Blue Team or something?
I don't remember the team name. Like I really checked out the Halo after Halo 3. Like Halo 4 and 5, I'd never played.
Okay. All right,
There's a
but
5?
actually, let me look this up because I'm trying to say, were they? Because I think they were Spartans, but they didn't seem like they were child soldier Spartans. But let me see. Mm,
Hold up. When did Halo 5 come out?
Well,
Yeah,
no.
Jameson Locke. Oh,
Basically,
Jameson Locke is a Spartan 4.
yeah, Spartan Force. Like I said, that's many generations down. Spartan twos are really the main generation that had what do you call it, that did children. And Spartan threes also had kids, but they were almost every one of them except for two of them were wiped out. Spartan fours were what Kurt was what he worked on in secret.
Yes. It says that
So
they were members were recruited from UNSC military who were augmented to be capable of wearing new variant Mjolnir armor.
yes, basically
Right?
because the original reason for the Spartans was because the original Mjolnir armor was so unwieldy by regular humans that you were literally causing like dislocations, dismemberments, and things like that of people trying to use Mjolnir armor.
Right. I think that was in that because there was another Halo TV show like
Yes,
way back, and it was it Halo Reach?
I forgot what it was called, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and it was about these kids and again military school, but I think they were getting set up to be Spartan fours. I think
Yeah,
because
it's
but
the part where I felt Halo jumped the shark would always be the introduction of that super ship that they have. I think it's this Infinity, whatever the hell it's called. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Infinity.
I forgot what the name of the ship is called. It's this one massive UNSC ship that they designed based on Covenant and Forerunner tech involved in it, and it just like houses mass amounts of other ships inside of it.
I'm pretty sure it's Infinity.
Yeah, Infinity. Yeah. So I felt that that was where I felt Halo jumped the shark because I'm like I definitely understand that UNSC didn't have the tech to fight against Covenant and stuff, but I doubt that they would invest so much money into just making one massive super ship instead of making like instead of augmenting their fleets with smaller ships that can fight on par easily with Covenant or any future threats. Because if that
But
one super ship gets blown up, the amount of resources that you lose in that alone is redonkulous.
but Dracon, you played Infinite Space. Making a super ship takes like 5 minutes.
I hate you so much. But anyway, I think I'm good to end it there with Halo, just because we've already been an hour in. I'd rather pivot over to your topic for this one.
But I guess just to wrap up, if they were trying to make whatever her name is, Cole Young, into like, oh, we're actually going to make a new like it's experimental, but we're going to be making Spartan fours, and if you want to get in, you have to go through UNSC military school to
Yeah.
get there. Then that could be a story arc because then we could see like a bunch of people who are not Master Chief trying to be Master Chief, and eventually some shit would happen, and then it's like, oh wait, if the Covenant's not here, where are they going? And turns out Halsey had something that they wanted, and now you got Master Chief who has to hightail it to where Halsey and Cole Young are, and that just brings both storylines together.
Yeah.
There's so much that could be done, and I am literally just sitting here. I thought of this in like 20 minutes
Hmm.
for free. Hire me, Bungie or whoever, Paramount, whoever wrote this nonsense.
Basically, it's for the Paramount Plus, but it's I would not be surprised if it's the same people who wrote the Star Trek trash that we have on TV as well right now. I know it's not, but I feel it's in the same vein. Paramount just has like the lowest common denominator for who to write this stuff.
You're fucking hubris. But anyway, speaking of hubris, let's talk about another adaptation that it's like I watched it and I really felt something. I could actually feel my stomach turn as my mind cringed out of existence. So yeah, Netflix Cowboy Bebop. Jesus wept with this show. So
I have a quick question before you
okay,
get fully into it.
first. Oh, actually, Sonny put up the picture.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Can
All
you
right,
not hear
so
me?
it should be simple because the anime has been around. It's finished. Nothing else needs to be added or taken away or blah blah blah. It's just a solid anime show by itself. But they made the live action show, and they were gonna, of course, take a few liberties as they do. But that first trailer, where it's this weird '70s Technicolor thing. I mean,
Just
okay, people
realized I
did.
was on push to talk, and I've been speaking, and you guys haven't been hearing me.
Yeah, we haven't heard you for
Look,
like the entire time.
wow.
Perfect. It's just streamer things. The stream heard me, but like it pretty much sounded like you guys were ignoring me. So I'm just gonna pretend like you guys were ignoring me this whole time.
No, we just
No,
didn't hear. We just haven't
I
heard
know,
you at all.
I know. But I wanted to ask a quick question before you got into the whole Cowboy Bebop thing. I see in this picture that there's like the main cast and the dog. Where's Ed?
Oh, I'll get to that. Don't you worry.
Okay.
So, so, and I'm not gonna go into like the whole show because it was like 10 episodes. But the main idea is that Spike Spiegel is not his real name.
What?
So here's the thing: the whole thing with the character of Julia, outside of some changes, that still happened. But back then, the two top agents of the syndicate, one was named Vicious, and the other's name was Fearless.
Saying that Spike is fearless.
Yes. And when I heard about that, I honestly let it slide. I thought that that would actually make sense. Because if they're supposed to think that he's dead, why would he still be running around with his actual name? Like in the anime. So if they just said, oh, his name was something else, now it's Spike, that would have been totally fine with me. But it didn't stop there. So but first I gotta point this out. The guy who plays Jet, give me 1 second. Mustafa Shakir.
Yeah.
He nailed it. Like it's like let's see, they gave him a wife and daughter that like he had to leave because he was suspected of being a like a dirty cop. That was the whole thing. But the interaction that he had with the family and with everybody, It was actually very well done. So, props to him. And then there was John Cho as Spike. Again, the Technicolor trailer, very good. It gave me hopes for the show, right? So let's see. He came up as aloof. He came up as as Spike, but there wasn't much else. Like he came off as kind of dumb, and we'll get to how dumb and like epically dumb he is in a bit. Then you get Faye, and people have brought this up multiple times, but yeah, if you're trying to get someone to watch your show, if they don't particularly have a good impression of your character, don't go on Twitter and call them assholes. Like, there were many ways to handle the look that Faye has in that, like, in the picture you're seeing, because it is different from the actual show. It's not like this skimpy, form-fitting thing. It's something that's more like combat oriented. People weren't too high up on that, and according to some interviews, it's like they tried the old costume, but it didn't really work for what they were planning to do in the show. But the actress, give me 1 second. What's her name again?
Daniela Pineda.
Right. Danielle Pineda. Yeah, she could have just said that, but instead she called it. They called the critics trolls, and
Yeah, it's a
yeah,
recent tactic by actors and producers and directors to, I really don't like using the word woke, but they make themselves seem like they're very culturally aware of things, and then they come off seeming like they're,
fuck up.
jerks. They come off as jerks
Yeah,
because it's
yeah,
easy to say, oh yeah, the people who don't like us are just weebs and basement dwellers, hate women, and all of this, and it's just it's a
and it's
very
like that.
tired rhetoric that they use, and it comes off sounding very preachy. That's it, preachy.
Yeah, and the fact that she's a woman is not even remotely the case. It's the fact that, okay, you have a pretty clean and clear cut story, but you made these changes to this character. And, okay, changes could have been justified, but they didn't justify them. Like, the world of this show compared to the world of the anime, it's basically the same. Like, unless they really made changes to the world, there was no reason to change anything. Just make a live action, put out some really good fight scenes, expand on the world that's already there, and then just and there's your show. There's really nothing to it. The show's already there. Copy the homework as if you made the homework yourself.
Like,
That's okay. Don't worry about
what's
it.
Christian
That's
songs?
really it.
Yeah, we listen to heathen music.
So like
But
Christmas music?
instead,
Is that Christian songs?
it's like an open book test that they decided to
Oh
just
shoot, that's
I don't know.
get wrong anyway.
no, I don't
It's okay,
know.
me neither.
So, and I say that because I'm about to mention easily one of the worst parts of the show, and that is the character of Vicious. So, original Vicious comes off as silent but methodical, smart but just cold. Like he has no issue killing or betraying anyone to get to advance himself in the syndicate or just to get an advantage on anybody. New Vicious randomly kills one of his subordinates the first scene he's in just to show that he is indeed the bad guy for no other reason than the fact that they fail to kill Spike. So, yeah. But on top of that, he looks like he's on the verge of screaming or crying every waking second. And he gets outsmarted and looked like a punk. Well, sorry, made to look like a punk constantly. And if that wasn't enough, it's like by the end of the story, he's not even the main villain. Sorry, by the end of the season, he's not like the main villain at all. He is easily a joke. I mean, a huge joke. But that's not even the worst part. So, the World Cowboy Bebop is crazy. Like, the bounties that the Bebop crew go after are just weird.
Mm-hmm.
Like an example, they're supposed to go after this lady who wants to turn all the people into monkeys because she's a crazy person who calls it protecting nature. Her and her crazy ass kids. That's a whole episode by itself. And the show, they change it from monkeys to trees. Which, okay, you gotta turn people into trees. That's
What?
yeah. Which, okay, I could let that slide. Maybe it's less money than CGI monkeys or real life monkeys. Just here's a tree. There you go. People are horrified. And that's actually the episode where they introduce Faye. Well, actually, no. They reintroduce her because she shows up in episode 1 going after that same group, those two people that have the drugs. But in that episode, you see that she could actually fight Spike and win. So there was that change. But in this episode, she goes after this dude because he knows where other person is that has her her cryo kit with all of her her personal details and memories and stuff. But this dude gets turned into a tree, and because he was, and they verbally stated that this man was a virgin, as he turned into a tree, he busted his nut. So now you have her having to stick her hand into
What?
a semen tree
What?
and not getting any information out of it. So
No wonder this was
Yes.
canceled so soon after release.
yes, if you want to talk about this show's quality, I will easily bring up the semen tree. But here's the thing. I think that's episode 3, and it doesn't stop there. So the thing about Faye, and just to point out the issues that I personally had, the thing about Faye, they could have had a character that did both. Faye in the show is a femme fatale. She uses her looks and her charm to get information or to get her bounties into a false sense of security. That was her whole thing. But in this, Faye is more she's trained. She's she can fight Spike. She has a whole gun. She has all this gun knowledge. Like she buys a rail gun, but it's like a handgun rail gun. Whatever, it's the future, but sure. They could have done both. Instead, it's like every scene she's in is meant to make everybody else look worse. But everybody called the railgun a scam because it's not supposed to work. But turns out, by the end of it, yeah, he was right. The railgun worked, and she proceeds to give that gun to her female love interest of that episode, who was then never seen again.
Well,
So there's that. Then you have it's Faye and Spike talking about their bounties, trying to like one up each other. But then she has this whole story about how she got into a tango with her target, and then proceeded to grab brass knucks and punch him out. And Spike is applauding her, thus confirming that she is also a better bounty hunter than Spike. Spike Spiegel,
hmm
the protagonist. But it doesn't stop there. So we get to the episode where she is getting her, like, she finds the person who scammed her after she woke up from cryo sleep. Except this time, the like I think the name was Whitney something. In the anime, it was a
Whitney
man.
Houston?
No,
would have been long dead by then.
yeah, but anyway, but instead of being a male named Whitney, now it's a female named Whitney.
Hmm.
And eventually, yeah, it turns out the people that are hunting Whitney, the leader of them is this dude who actually it's like the whole episode is these people hunting this lady down, and then she needs Faye and the rest of the crew's help to stay alive. And then sorry, if you help me, I'll get you the thing, your cryo kit. I know where all the cryo kits are from all the people I scammed. Sure. And then at random, while they have this, while these people, one of them called himself the Iron Mink because of his mink coat, sure, has them dead to rights, gun to their heads. Whitney says some word, like let's say asparagus, and then he's like, "Oh damn it!" Turns around, shoots his subordinate, and then he points out that asparagus is their safe word. This whole episode was foreplay for this lady and her gangster husband. So they're just making out while Faye finds her cryo kit, takes that, and then grabs a ship out of the back. The ship that she would have in the show, in the anime, and just leaves while they just look at each other. And Whitney's like, "That's my girl." Like now they're actually apparently mother and daughter. In the anime, this Whitney person was the scum of the earth, but now that it's a woman, she's cool.
So,
Sure. But it doesn't stop there. It gets worse. Because for Faye, we get to the final episode, and she is pretty much done.
Before the final episode, I just wanted to ask, where's Ed in all of this still?
We're getting there.
yep.
So
Okay.
okay. So I guess since the final episode, we'll just I'll stop with Faye here, and I'll just double back to Jet. Jet is trying to, get money, but also he's looking for information to clear his name, which he does, and it happens in the episode kind of the same way. Like, nothing that big really changes. It's just that now he has a daughter. Cool. And I have nothing to say. I have nothing bad to say about it. It's like they give it a whole episode, but let's see. There's this. Let's see. His wife, ex-wife, is now with another cop, and that cop, Jet thought was the guy that betrayed him. Turns out, no, it was his partner, and now this other cop is just with your ex-wife, and you are just good with it, I guess. which isn't a bad thing, but it's like his character arc kind of just ends halfway through. So he's kind of helping out after that until Vicious decides to. Yeah, actually, the other thing, every other bounty that has to do with anything in this show is somehow connected to Vicious, which to me kind of shrinks the world down. Like in the anime, things were insane. People were like, there was like an AI, there was this crazy clown, there was like all this other stuff. Now in this show, everything has to do with a syndicate. So the world building in this show is now weird. But eventually, Vicious finds out that Spike is on this ship with this guy, and this guy has a daughter. So he grabs the daughter and tells the guy, bring Spike to this location, and I'll give you your daughter back. Jet does this, but he actually told Spike, and they were going to just get the jump on him. Turns out, Vicious and the girl were never there. It's a hologram. Hardy har har, you idiots! And come to me in this. Sorry, no. The rest is going to get jump them, and I'm going to get dragged to the church for the finale. So that's Jet's whole thing. Then we get to Spike, and again, stuff's just thrown at him because of Vicious. But by episode 5, Spike finds Vicious first, has a sniper rifle on him, could kill him for this long stretch of time, and doesn't for some reason. And that's the end of the episode. He just doesn't kill Vicious for less than no reason. He just didn't feel like it, I guess. Even though he knows that no one in the syndicate actually really likes Vicious. So if he were to take him out, he'd probably be doing them a favor. But yeah. Then this is where we get to the episode of, well, Mad Perot, the crazy clown. And Vicious goes to him to hire him to take out Spike. Like in the anime, it was a bounty. So I went after him, but apparently not. So Matt Perot goes after them, beats the shit out of him, and then Matt Perot freaks out every time he sees Ein. Ein up to this point was exactly the same as the anime, except for being like a super AI dog or something. Except during the episode, Mad Perot can send a hologram through Ein, calling out Spike. So the dog is something, we don't know what, and then they see that, throw the dog out of the ship because what the shit is that? And then Spike goes off alone to fight Mad Perot, but Mad Perot sees the dog, sees Ein, who somehow got there, has a whole flashback where the reason why Mad Perot went crazy is because they downloaded part of his mind into that specific dog. Ein is half Mad Perot.
Oh boy.
No! They do the thing, Mad Perot's dead, and then we get the whole kidnapped daughter thing, so now they're being dragged off to wherever. Now, Vicious. During this whole thing, as I mentioned, he's made to look like, for lack of a better term, a bitch. But then he has like one good moment where Julia, who, by the way, we get so much more of her in this. In fact, too much. to the point where the mystery and allure around her in the anime, that's gone. Now you know her, and you don't really see that much as to why Spike would die for her. But anyway, she wants Vicious taken out so that she can get away from the syndicate. So she has a whole deal with this other syndicate head. And yeah, this lady who is into ironworks or whatever, and this guy whose whole thing is that he cuts balls off and eats them.
And eats them.
Yeah, like this whole thing, like this guy has a whole thing about cutting people's balls off as eating them because you don't really know someone until you've had their severed balls in your mouth.
Okay, I'm glad I
So
don't know people
Okay.
then.
Okay, so I'm sorry. I heard that. I'm thinking Chef from South Park.
Seth, Chef was a better character. But anyway,
He's talking about the chocolate salty bowl.
yeah,
Yes. That's what that reminds me of. Like that song could just be based, that could be what that guy's creed is.
yeah. So, but then in the one good moment that Vicious had, because the idea was they caught him, brought him before the syndicate heads. They know about his portrayal, and they were going to just execute him. And so they do. Except it's not him. It's the ball cutting guy. It was holograms. The ball cutting guy that they thought did the execution, that was Vicious. He kills the other lady, goes through all these soldiers in a kind of slow fight scene, like it's whatever, and then kills everybody and then takes over the syndicate. While Julia thought that everything went according to plan, that she could finally just get out of the syndicate. Nope. He shows up at home. They've been living together perfectly fine. And so happy to see her. So much so that he's just going to have her killed off and that'd be it. Except you see this one syndicate agent in the room and the camera just kind of lingers on her for a minute. So Vicious kidnaps the daughter while Julia's being driven off to wherever to get killed. Why it takes so long to kill someone, I have no idea, but that's what's happening. And then the syndicate lady, okay, it's 3 syndicate agents and Julia. And the lady driving the car, drives the car off the road so that it crashes, killing all 3 of them, but Julia is still alive, and then she is now able to go to the church herself. So, everything's set up. Everybody's, except Faye. Faye says, and I quote, "I'm not going to carry that weight." Wink, wink. And she is going to just go off and find her family. Even though these people that she's been with for these how many episodes, they're in a dire situation. Her thing can wait a literal day. But sure, she's not helping. Until you have Vicious and everybody tied up, and they're going to go ahead and just kill them all. Except then Faye shows up in her new ship and just starts shooting everybody except Spike and the rest of them. And while doing this, she screams, "Welcome to the ouch, motherfuckers!" and single-handedly kills more syndicate agents than Spike ever did. So, Vicious hightails it upstairs. Everybody gets untied. Jet now hates Spike for being kind of the cause of all this. And then Faye drops Jet and the daughter off at the Bebop and then leaves. Meanwhile, Spike goes back into the church, And then we apparently, this is where we start getting, now they're doing 1-to-1 with the music and the jazz and whatever. And then Spike and Vicious have their duel. Vicious gets shot, Spike gets stabbed, and then Julia shows up and shoots Vicious. He's still alive, but whatever. And then this is the first time Spike has seen Julia in however long. And her question is, why did you never come back for me? And the reason for this, and this is why I thought that this Spike was honestly certifiably stupid, because before Vicious tried to have him killed that many years ago, he told Spike that Julia chose him, Vicious. After Julia cheated on Vicious with Spike and was making it very clear that she was ready to leave the Syndicate with Spike. Spike believed Vicious when Vicious said that Julia decided at the literal last second when they were about to leave, oh no, I chose Vicious. He believed this for years and left her there with him. Didn't check in or anything. So Spike's like, okay, that was a bad. I screwed up. But we can leave now. We can be free, blah, blah. And he's like, leave? Why would I leave now when I'm so close to the crown? It's like, yeah, now, at this moment, Julia wants to be in charge of the Syndicate. Which, by the way, I keep saying that she wanted to leave. She was never actually part of the Syndicate. She was a ballroom singer and Vicious's booty call. And
Okay.
nothing else.
So, in the words of a certain idiot, what a twist!
Yeah. Yes. And then Fleck's like, but I love you. And then she's like, and you're just a dream I have to wake up from. Which is his line! And then she shoots him out of the window. That big window scene from the anime, this is how we get it. Julia is our main villain now. And, oh yeah, by the way, Spike lands in the water, so he's about to fall. So he drags himself back to the Bebop, where Jet's daughter's, the wife, she comes in, grabs the girl, and because of this, never wants Jet around their daughter again. Which he doesn't really have anything else to say against that because, yeah, this was kind of bad. But he tells Spike to his face, if I ever see you again, I am going to kill you. And then he takes the ship and leaves. Spike then drags himself through an alleyway and then just collapses. And now you hear Spike, bingo! And then he opens his eyes. And at the last minute of the season, now we have Ed, who has Ein somehow. And she is going on about how they have to find the Butterfly Man and how he has a bounty and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, Sonny, it's
Yes.
like if the episode of Supernatural where Dean gets taken by the Hellhounds.
Oof.
It's like if that happened, and then right at the end, while Sam is at his worst, Krusty the Clown showed up and said, "Hey, I got a demon you gotta kill! Woohoo!" Like, it's such a horrible about face in tone. It's
Yeah.
like,
Mood
it's like
whiplash.
what? It's like what in the fuck is this? What have you done? And and Vicious is now chained up in his own basement while Julia will walk in, grab a gun, and play Russian roulette every day until the gun finally goes off and kills him. And he whimpers every time she clicks the gun. And I'm like, oh dear God, this is terrible. Even for a show that would have nothing to do with Cowboy Bebop, this is just awful. And yeah, and actually, that's not even the worst of it. Oh, everything I said was pretty bad, but the one thing that pissed me off to no end, just to be sure, you two have seen Cowboy Bebop?
The anime, yes.
The anime, yes.
Okay, so do you remember a character named Gren?
Vaguely.
Been a
Yeah,
while.
so just a little follow up. Gren is a saxophone player that Faye happens upon, and as it turns out, due to Vicious betraying him while they were both in the army and were formerly friends, he gets taken in by the government and experimented on with body altering drugs to the point where he is starting to get female parts. And because of that, and the fact that because of those drugs he's now terminally ill, he wants nothing more in this world than to finally get his payback on Vicious and then go off to this planet that he considers basically heaven so he can die. He eventually ends up helping Spike survive an attack from Vicious, which screws over Vicious enough so that he can kind of just call it like, yeah, okay, this is good enough. And then Spike puts him on the ship and aims the ship at that planet that he wants, so he can just finally get the end of his story arc. Like, he lived only to get back at Vicious, and now he gets to just go off into the sunset, basically. Which I thought was actually a pretty good character arc.
Hmm.
Like he gave up his chance at revenge to help someone else, and then finally got to go to where he wanted to go. He wanted to go to this planet, even though he was wounded and was not gonna make it there anyway. Like he wanted to just be on his way. Finally, I thought, okay, that was a good episode. So, grin this. There is a character named Anne. She's kind of the information person.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And there also happens to be this individual who is the person who trains the cabaret girls on how to dance. This is Gren, and his personality can be summed up in just saying, Yas, Queen. That's it.
So someone who's very camp and stereotypically flamboyant.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
It's like
Wonderful.
it's like someone on the show called it fixing the character, and I'm like, you didn't fix the character in any way. You reduced him.
To a stereotype.
Gren, yes, Gren wasn't. Gren didn't have female parts by choice. He was made terminally ill by the government putting these drugs into his body that made him this way. And the only thing he wanted in this world is to murder Vicious as painfully as humanly possible. That's not in this show. It's like they turned one of its best characters into stereotypical gay for nothing, for no reason. They shouldn't even have called the character Gren. Like the character being there is one thing because I wouldn't give a shit, but they made his character Gren. That's idiotic.
Hey, look, we can appeal to you too. We can give you callbacks to characters that you know about in the anime. Look at that. We have them here as well. And then you're like, did you just destroy that character? F you.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
recognize a lot of the actors and actresses here. And like Tamara Tooney is Anna. Tamara
Yeah,
Tooney is in general. I know her from the Law and Order series as the medical
yeah.
examiner.
Yeah.
So,
What is with you and Law and Order? First you got porn stash, now you got this.
Hornacek wasn't in Law and Order. Oh crap, he was.
You said he was. You
You
told
said
us.
he
Yes,
was.
he was. He was.
He was
Oh
a
my
recurring
god,
villain.
he was
You
a
told us
very.
this.
He was a recurring villain. You're right. Oh no. Listen. I have a theory, and it's that if you see an actor, there's like a 70% chance they've appeared on Law and Order before they got big.
I won't
Dude,
be
Method Man
surprised.
was on Law and Order.
Huh?
Method Man was on Law and Order.
Method Man was on Law and Order, as
Yes.
was Logan. What's his face? One of those brothers. I forget their name.
Logan Paul.
That's it. Logan Paul was on an episode of SVU as someone who hated women and decided she didn't deserve to be a game dev and decided he wanted to kill her.
So you
Logan
mean
Paul.
he was playing himself then?
Got him. Oh boy. So yeah, I'm sorry
Okay, so-
that y'all hear about Law and Order from me, but this is what's going to happen. So
No
Yeah.
problem.
Okay, but that's because I'm looking at the episode list to see if I missed anything, but I don't think that there's anything else that could be said about this. Like this, it's like what kills me is that the trailer, like the like the Technicolor one, it was actually pretty good. It's like okay, it's not going to be exactly the same as the old show, but that's fine. This is me saying after all this that being different from the original anime would have been fine because it would have had its own style. It would have been its own show. But instead, they took everything that was good about the anime and made it terrible. Terrible or needlessly woke. It was awful. In every way.
okay,
So,
we don't have too much time left, but I'm going to talk about.
Arrow, the rise and fall.
just the whole Arrowverse.
Okay, now if we go in Arrowverse, then I'll recommend Batwoman. That is by far the worst of the entire Arrowverse put together.
The problem is I haven't seen Batwoman, and I'm not going to. So
That's a
stick in
good
the
thing.
Arrow.
Oh, dude, there's this show on YouTube, and it's like they used to watch episodes of Batwoman and just make fun of them, and it's like I promise you that's way more entertaining than actually watching the show itself. It's like just them
Oh,
hating on it.
okay. I will honestly say the best thing that came out of Arrow before we continue with just finish this. The best thing that came out of Arrow was Legends of Tomorrow. That's the only
Yeah,
good thing
That's
I think
true.
Arrow did.
they knew what they were,
They,
and
like,
they catered to it.
And they leaned into it really hard, so it pretty
yes,
much great. I mean, like almost none of the original cast is still there,
the
but
the last season I've watched, the only original cast member still is
Sarah.
Sarah. Everyone else has left. Like the last one to leave was Rory.
Yep.
But yeah, apparently he has kids now. He had sex with an alien being, got pregnant, and has a bunch of kids with her now.
He got pregnant.
Yes.
I
What?
love it.
See, if they did that on Arrow, that would make no fucking sense. But it's Legends; they can do whatever
Yep.
they want. They had a
Exactly.
plushie doll fight Satan.
Hold up. Don't put no disrespect on Bebo's name right now.
Yeah, I see the reason why I found that to be such a good way for him to end. Oh, you know what makes it even worse? You know who was the original supposed husband? Well, was going to get married to her, the fiance of the alien that Rory had sex with.
No.
Gary.
Oh gosh.
Gary the entire time was an alien in disguise.
Are you kidding me? No
What?
wonder
Yep.
he was so awkward.
He was an alien in disguise. His glasses is actually what he used to hide himself as a human.
Wait. Gary had sex with Rory.
No.
Gary
Gary,
was supposed to
well,
marry the alien that slept with
the other,
Rory.
and Rory
Okay,
ended up
sorry.
with. Yep.
Sorry,
And
I You said
And
that guy was an alien, and I just blacked out for a second.
yeah, no. Gary was her fiance, but Gary just really didn't have an interest in her like that because he was actually in love with Sarah's girlfriend.
Sarah's
Uh,
girlfriend was still the head of the Time Bureau, right?
yeah.
Okay.
Because
I
Gary's
believe that.
actually in love with her, so for him it was like no love lost. Like if it was it was an arranged marriage anyway.
See, what's weird that could actually work because if I remember correctly, the head of the whatever was a clone.
Yeah, she's a clone, and actually
So
that season actually introduces the person who created her.
Oh, all right, don't spoil it. I want to watch it.
It's all on Netflix. Trust me,
I know.
that's why I caught up with it. Yeah, but yeah, he was the last one to leave out of the original cast. Because like the fastest, the earliest one was the thing that was like Hawk Girl. I think was the first one who
Yeah,
left.
Hawk Girl and Hawkeye, whatever his name is, left.
Yeah, and then each season, new people kept coming in and going on. You know what? I like that. I like that
Oh
there was
wait,
a
no. Captain Cold
Ric
also
Flair.
died.
Yes, Captain
Yeah.
Cold died. That's what it was, and that was really where people were like, "What do you do with Rory's story when Captain Cold is dead?"
Yeah,
But
he
it
became his
worked
own
out.
character.
That's why it worked out because he became his own guy. He stopped being like a stereotype, just being like the side guy for Captain Cold, and was able to build his own character from it.
Yep.
Not to mention, I don't think he was pretty sad about that role because he was paid to drink a lot of beer.
That's true. He
yeah.
just got to drink beer and say something silly every once in a while, or dumb.
Yep.
Okay, so we kind of got off. We got off to
Yeah. Sorry, I got off track.
What is about Arrow?
Back to Arrow.
Here's my
Legends
rant
can
on.
do that.
Yep. Here's my rant on Arrow. So there was a time when Arrow was an amazing show.
Yes.
Like
Seasons. That was
the
it.
first 2 seasons were wonderful.
And we could
You
chalk
know
it
the
up to
story.
two things. But I think I chalk it up to two things for that. The first one was Arrow was actually willing to kill people,
Yes.
and then the second one was Slade Wilson.
Yep.
Yeah,
Slade
but
was a wonderful character.
honestly, season 1 and 2 just had good villains.
Yeah.
Like in general, like it's like season 1, John Barrowman. I watched Doctor Who when he was on that show, but I never knew he had this in him. I was like, yo, he's actually a genuinely good villain. Like it's like you could actually feel how when him and Stephen Amell were on screen together, how like his acting was making Amell like do better. Like it's
Yeah.
like it's like he just pulled everybody up with him.
Yeah. No, he really did a great job. And like the whole cast was good. Then I feel like the writers started to like I don't know. They started listening to the wrong side of the fandom because they started making it a CW show. Like I know it was on the CW, but they made it into a CW teenage drama.
Yeah.
We had the full CW shows. It was the same problem that happened to Supernatural.
Yep. Because Supernatural was great, like up until like the end of season 5.
Yeah. Again, every show eventually becomes a CW show, and the problem is that the audience who watches it doesn't want that.
Yeah. Because
Like
look, Arrow was great until the weird shippers were like demanding that Oliver and Felicity be a thing. When
Which
we
I
all
hated.
know
So
that Oliver and Laurel should have been a thing because that's where the
no,
story was going.
I actually didn't want either of them. The honest truth about it was this: I wanted them to introduce a better. Who I would have actually liked for Arrow, that version of Arrow, was Huntress.
You know
Because
they
what?
had Huntress.
They had
They had Huntress in
Huntress.
that show.
they had Huntress in the show. I felt that Huntress, as how her character was played, would have been a very good way for Arrow to see where he had gone at the start, how bad he was, and how much he went to change them, and the relationship would be him doing the same to help her, while she's there to balance him off a bit. And I think that would have been a great pairing. And nope, She came in, she left.
Yeah.
Yep. And that was it. The thing about it is just after season, maybe mid season 3, the show just became a weird thing about Oliver and Felicity's relationship. Season 4 was just
Yeah.
absolutely, it disgusted me.
I think the only good things that the later seasons brought in was Adam, which I actually loved. The character, the guy who played Adam, I enjoyed him as a character on that, and even better when he went on to Legends of Tomorrow. I just enjoyed him as a character there.
Yes.
And then the other thing was Damien Dark, only because again he became a very good Legends villain.
He really
True.
did. That, it's weird that the show is so bad that they can just like get rid of their crappy character and put him into another show where that villain thrives.
Yep, like Legends was just meant to be that show where you threw everyone else who was a side character or a villain that didn't work well, and Legends just made them better. Like one of the best examples would be and I know I'm going off topic here again,
It's okay.
Constantine. Well, from his show, which bombed, to being on Legends, it was such a big improvement for him.
Oh, I have a better example. So, in the Flash,
I know you're going to pick
how
Reverse Flash.
Reverse Flash was played by what was his name?
He was played by the guy who actually played Eobard Thawne first, and then they
Yeah,
replaced him with the guy who played
let's see. Wait, hold on. Oh
well,
yeah. Wells was played by Tim Cavanaugh,
Tom Cavanaugh.
but the Tom Cavanaugh.
Yes, Tom.
Yeah, sorry. All right, but the actual Reverse Flash actor Eobard Thawne was played by. Give me 1 second.
But yes,
Matt
just while
Lesher.
he's Matt Lesher.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
and
just to make the point, the fact being that this show was so bad that the spin-off series that came from it was so much better because of the rejects from this show.
yeah, like I haven't watched Legends in a while, but apparently Matt Lesher came back.
Yeah, he was in season 2.
Yeah, he was.
No,
He
no,
was.
no, 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 yeah, season 2. But I'm talking after that. Like he came back to Legends again.
It's Reverse Flash?
Apparently,
Yeah, no, I think that was when he was teaming up with Damien Dark for a while.
uh,
That was season 2 though.
Well, season 2. Oh, okay, I don't
yeah,
remember.
I'm talking like after that.
Well,
Like,
to be fair, they do have time travel shenanigans in this, so it's
Yeah,
possible for
so
them
it
to
makes
mix
sense for him to be able to come back. So, yeah.
yeah, but then but the last time I saw, well, the last time I saw any clip of the Flash was when. Okay, so it was Flash and Reverse Flash versus Godspeed, and they
Not
all
that
whipped out
stupid
light.
lightsaber
Oh
battle.
my god, the lightsaber battle! Let's not talk about that,
Yes,
That's why I
please.
didn't want to talk about the Flash. The Flash is just detestable right now. I am
yes,
so
but
furious about that.
yes,
Let's put it
but the
this
point
way.
being that version of Reverse Flash was Tom Cavanaugh.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay,
Still
can
no.
they meet? Like, can we have both Reverse Flashes?
Flash is its own drop off the deep end issues as well. The biggest problem with it, of course, always being the fact that they had no idea what to do for main villains, so they kept giving them speedsters.
Over and over and over.
Yep. And
The,
Or
then
one guy who was smarter than him, and then we just went back to Godspeed,
the
who was a
thinker.
yep.
minor villain before.
No, wait, no. The after the thinker was Cicada.
Right.
I forgot what Cicada power was.
Cicada
She,
in this version, there are two of
they're
them.
like a knife.
They had
Yeah,
a
there was
knife
two of them.
that could take powers away. That could stop metahuman powers
That's what it was. Okay.
Yeah,
in their
and
presence, not like all the time. Just like
oh yeah, what's funny? The first cicada was that one guy from American Pie.
yeah,
Not that one guy. I'm talking like the other guy.
yeah. The one whose line was "suck me beautiful."
That guy. Yes.
Yeah, I'll never not
Oh,
remember that line, which is terrible. That's a stupid
oh,
line, but yeah.
Oh, you might know him also as Charlie Nash from Street Fighter: The Legends of Chun-Li. It just gets worse and worse. But
Anyway,
Please don't remind me about that show. Please don't. That movie was just god awful.
it was. And Cicada 2 was Helena from Dead or Alive, the movie. Also terrible. It's like it's like if you're in like a bad horror movie, is that like are you like typecast as just only being in those?
maybe. Or, they look for people who are. Uh,
Cheap.
no, they look for actors and actresses that are attractive, or at least, somewhat attractive, and they cast them. Because this isn't about acting ability. Not to say that they are or aren't good actors. It's just that when it comes to the CW, everybody has to have a chiseled jawline, really attractive, most
Okay,
likely blonde. So
okay. Oh, you could say that, but I still say that the person who they did for Arrow was probably the best pick they could have for Arrow.
Stephen Amell,
Stephen
Yeah.
Amell. I
great
respect him
actor.
as an actor for it. I respect him as an actor, and even the person who did John Diggle, I respect him as an actor as well.
Yeah.
He got
Apparently.
buff for this role. I'm not joking.
Oh
Like,
yeah, he did.
I
Like
remember
literally, they were
seeing him
like,
in shows in the 90s. He was a twig. I saw him in Dexter. He wasn't this buff.
oh yeah, but he basically had to do the Marvel diet. Oh, you ads need to be on screen for a while. Get to go in the Marvel diet.
Holy heck.
Yeah, like wasn't like how many times that they had like wait, here's the whatever they call it, the Arrow Cave, and whenever somebody visited, there was that I forget what it's called, but it's like that that
The
ladder
armbar,
pull up
he was
thing.
doing pull-ups. He was just doing pull-ups with his
Yeah,
shirt off. That's
Yeah.
all he's always
yeah,
doing.
yeah. But they'll have like other characters just try them, just because. But they even had the Flash when it was just this mess of CGI because well whatever. I'm just doing things. I'm the Flash.
Look, I just. All of these shows generally suffer from this weird, like, degradation that happens to every show on the CW where
Yes.
we get hot actors, we put them in this role, and we get them there to be pretty, but not actually advance the plot in any significant way.
The only show, and I again would say the only show that escaped this, and that's just because they chose to embrace the insanity, was Legends.
Legends,
They
yeah.
chose to go
Yeah,
more and more outlandish every season, and it worked for them.
yeah. And then they try to be serious with Crisis on Infinite Earths, and I watched the whole thing. It was weird.
The
Like,
problem with Crisis is that they didn't have a budget to do Crisis because the amount of stars that they wanted to bring in for that ate up all the budget.
Yeah.
they just
Also, they got.
they,
Hold on, I really need to ask about this.
okay.
Lex Luthor is the dad from Two and a Half Men?
Yes.
That bugs me because he does. No. Just can't. No, I'm sorry. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Okay. There were a few reasons, but one of them being was that in the like in the old Christopher Reeves movies, I think it was it Superman 4? Like there was Lex Luthor, and then there was his little buddy. The little buddy was the dad from Two and a Half Men.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but on top of that, it's like I watched that and it's like, okay, would Lex Luthor do some crazy petty shit like this? Yes.
Probably, yeah.
So okay,
Most DC villains can be described as, hey, I have reasons for doing these things, but they're petty reasons.
yeah, it's like yeah, but what was dumb? Okay, so you got a page of the Book of Destiny and you wrote whatever into it so that you replace Earth whatever Superman. Okay, he literally grabbed a Sharpie and wrote Lex Luthor over the Superman symbol, and it worked.
Okay, I'll be
Apparently.
right back, guys.
No problem.
Okay, it's like how what? So you could just take a Sharpie and just write everything, and then it's just and it just works. But on top of that, he gives himself superpowers because
Why
sure,
not?
and they kind of just keep him around. And then the big fight scene happens where you have all these super people and trained whatevers, but also Ryan Choi and his screwdriver. He's just stabbing shadow demons. And it's like, and I don't know what I was supposed to feel then. I don't think I was able to feel anything after that. But on top of that, you had Oliver Queen, who was dead, but then they went to go get him in the afterlife, only for Jim Corrigan to in this moment right now for the first time ever show up and say, "Hey, I'm Jim Corrigan. I was a hero in my own right. I'm the Spectre. I need Oliver Queen to become the Spectre." And it's like, and I'm sitting there like, wait, did they introduce him? No, never introduced him before.
Nope.
He literally showed up for the first time ever right now for no other reason than to say, Oliver Queen, you have to be the Spectre. And words.
And Oliver dies. The end. It's
Yeah,
literally
Oliver
the
died.
end of Arrow. There's
Yes.
one more episode of Arrow, and then that's it. And then
And
apparently
they
they're
went
bringing
ahead.
back another season of Arrow.
Yeah, but it's his daughter. Like, it's apparently Birds of Prey. Like, it's
Yeah.
his daughter from the future who got sent back in time because crisis happened and is now stuck there. It's going to be her evil Laurel, but not evil anymore Laurel from Earth 2,
Yeah. Siren.
and someone else. I can't remember.
Maybe Huntress. Maybe not.
Yeah, but
But what I
like
really
that,
wanted to say... Go ahead.
I don't know. Like, just to wrap up my thoughts on Crisis, there were a few good character interactions, but then after that, what they did with those characters was just either weird or really contrived. Like, oh man, we need a big charge of electricity to get this thing to work for the Flash for this other Flash to run and blah blah blah. Oh no, what do we do? And then poof, Black Lightning shows up, and he's like, "Where are my wife and kids? What the fuck is going on?" And it's like, "Look, no questions, charge of this thing." And it's like, "Okay, zap." And then they take him back to the ship that he'll probably never be on again. And then he meets Superman. He's like, "Superman's real. That's so pog." And then he's just the guy who is also there in the conversations. Like, he's there and thus has to say something even though it adds nothing to the conversation. Because
You know what?
Black
Before you
Lightning.
mentioned it, I completely forgot that Black Lightning was part of CW.
Yep.
He has become a whole part of Crisis, and then they had him show up to then die and then get brought back, and now it's all one universe. Except part of that universe got canceled, and then another part, and now what's even left?
Flash. But yeah,
God help them.
what I wanted to get into was essentially how Arrow was like super amazing. Then it became the Felicity show, which is the ship name of Oliver and Felicity.
Yep.
And it became the most egregious in like seasons 4 and 5 because I
Wasn't that
think
when they were fighting the League of whatever?
season 3 was League of Assassins, season 4 was Damien Dark, season 5 was Prometheus, and
Right.
after that I didn't really pay much attention. But essentially, Felicity was like, hey, eventually Oliver finds out he has a son that his mother uh, paid the mother off to go away.
And then they brought her back
They
just
brought
to
her
die,
back.
and now Oliver just has a son.
Wait,
Now,
wait, 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 wait. Getting ahead of me. They brought her back. She has a kid, but she's living in Central
Central
City,
City.
where the Flash is. So Oliver tells Barry, "Hey, I've got a son. I didn't really know about this until like just now." Felicity finds out later, like maybe another episode or in the same episode. All I know is that they're fighting. The heck is his name? Vandal Savage. This is the episode where they fight Vandal Savage, and Felicity finds out about the kid. She gets mad because Oliver didn't tell her that he had the kid, and he just found out and was processing. But she's like, "But you told Barry about it, and you can't tell me." But he needed Barry to do like a DNA test to find out if the kid was actually his and all of that. Something like that. So Felicity got really mad about it. But it doesn't matter because they all died in that episode. So Barry went back in time to replay the day. Stuff happened. Oliver kept it all to himself. And episodes later, Felicity leaves Oliver because of this whole child situation. Not really her business, not her place to be telling him how to handle his child because, whatever. Also, this is like episodes after she was paralyzed from the waist down and got this new chip in her spine to be able to walk. And the first action she does with this new chip is get out of her wheelchair and leave Oliver's apartment. And I was like, what's the point of this? Why is this the whole drama of this?
Should have kept her crippled.
Jesus,
That's terrible.
I mean, there's an
So
episode in season 5 where someone puts off an EMP in Oliver's place and Felicity is there and it disables her chip. So she
right.
can't walk again for a little while. And I was like, this just leave them apart.
Good
And
thing,
they had been broken up.
yeah, a good thing it
But
wasn't like real life EMPs and it shot her heart as well.
Exactly. But, whatever.
that reminds me. Can't remember her name, but Beth from Walking Dead, and how she was
Emily Kinney.
Bumblebee.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was like some Bumblebee themed hacker person,
Yes.
but she also had a leg thing and also needed that chip. And that was the episode. Like, wow, what a coincidence that these two people who already know each other happen to have the exact same infliction, happen to need the exact same chip, and they could just make another one.
They were
There's
going
no
for the
need for.
they were going for the Oracle thing. If you didn't notice.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
Arrow was supposed to be CW's Batman. It was gritty, it was dark, he always operated at night. And
There were Batman villains everywhere.
essentially they had the Suicide Squad, and they were all made up of Batman villains.
They had the goddamn League of Assassins.
They had the League of Assassins.
They had Solomon Grundy.
Slade
Sorry,
Wilson, who's
Cyrus
already a
Gold.
Batman villain.
Slade was a villain.
Actually, no. Deathstroke was a villain for Green Arrow first,
Oh, he
but
was?
then
Okay, yeah.
but then they kept rolling him into Batman because they're actually better matched. And
They
now
are.
it's like, can anyone even remember when Deathstroke and Oliver Queen had an issue in the comics?
But they also gave him the KG Beast, who was specifically a Batman villain. I'm pretty sure Batman left the KG Beast to die. Batman locked the KG Beast in a room and just left him to starve there. Locked the door, ran threw the key away, and somehow the KG Beast managed to get out of that. But I digress. Batman's a piece of crap. Anyway,
Like Arrow had a Harley Quinn before anyone else. Like you couldn't see her, but Amanda Waller was there. A bunch of Batman villains were there, and then you had a silhouette and some talking of what was clearly Harley Quinn before they just forgot that forever.
Mhm.
And then Amanda Waller gets shot. Just
Oh,
Yeah,
could
she
have
tried
been
to
so
use
much
this
better.
Argus for what, however she lost Argus.
Oh
Wait,
yeah,
what?
and then Diggle's wife took over Argus.
Yep.
Yes. But turns out she was also a herald of the Anti-Monitor, or the Monitor, or something. What a twist!
This show just it had ups and downs, like really, really ups and downs. Like if I could draw a line chart, it would be like seasons 1 and 2, like
The
ascending.
line chart is just going downhill. Well, actually, no, Martin, it went up then down because one and
Exactly.
two were
Up,
like very,
down.
very close in thing, and then it just went down after
3
that.
and 4 went down, 5 went up a little, 6 went down, 7 went down, and half of 8 went down.
See, every CW show, especially superhero show, should have no more than 5 seasons max. That's really that should be the sweet spot to when they should stop with seasons after that.
Like,
Money
what the
though.
Flash? It's like, what the Flash? What's even happening right now? Like,
I can tell you,
oh, please do.
reverse Flashpoint.
Wait, Arrow's still going on? I thought it finished.
No,
He,
no, Flash.
the Flash.
Oh, Flash. Flash is still going. I
There's a
thought
new season of Arrow coming out, by the way.
oh my lord!
But
What
that's
was it
not
going to
what
be? Is it going to be like Red Arrow because
his
Green Arrow is
daughter,
dead?
his daughter from the
Oh, his daughter.
future.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah. Anyway, so in the Flash, it's reverse Flashpoint. Reverse Flash decided to go back in time and make Barry the Reverse Flash and himself the Flash for reasons. Also, Damien Dark is in this timeline, and it's a whole bunch of stuff. Joe's dead. A whole bunch of other stuff. Everybody's acting
Wait,
weird.
Joe died?
Joe's back now. It's after the Reverse Flash decided he wanted to go back in time and essentially do everything he wanted to do. Kill Barry, kill his parents or something. I don't remember. It was stupid. But it got resolved at some point, and I'm only like marginally interested because YouTube keeps recommending it to me. Like the last episode of The Flash clips from it, and I'm like, oh, okay. It's like the Reverse Flash admits that he created the Reverse Flashpoint, and I'm like, why the heck is there a Reverse Flashpoint? And yeah, I don't know.
Actually raises the question of, in the comics, why has there never been a reverse Flashpoint? Couldn't he have done this at any point?
He could have. But at this point, there are at least 7 living speedsters to stop him. I guess except for what's the kid's name? Bart Allen. I think Bart Allen's dead right now in the comics.
In the comics for now. But let me see. Season 8 of Flash, which it already ended. But let's see. There's Barry. There's Iris. There's Caitlin / Killer Frost. There's Cecile,
Oh, I forgot to tell
Allegra,
you.
Chester, and Joe.
I forgot to tell you. Caitlin, who used to switch between her Killer Frost and Caitlin personalities, that don't happen no more.
Now they're just together.
No,
Wait,
they have different bodies.
what?
Yeah, I don't know how it happened. Don't ask me how. There's Caitlin, the character, and she's there sometimes, and then there's Killer Frost, the character, and she's there most of the time because she's clearly the more interesting character. They're both played by Danielle Panabaker, but yeah, that's it. So
Hey,
there are also the Flashlings you know, his kids from the future. There are two now.
So
There's
stop. Hold up. The Flash.
I call them the
Oh,
Flashlings.
okay. God help him if that was like a thing.
No, these are the
Ugh.
kids from the future. The one who played the daughter XS, and
Yeah.
there's the boy. I don't know. I guess he's Bart. He might be
Uh,
Impulse. I don't remember. I don't care. There are also the Speed Force babies. That was from like the season before. I don't know, man. It's just a cluster crap.
because they need to keep inventing ways that people have metahuman powers.
My issue with the Flash is that every issue in the Flash can be solved with Barry's super speed, but he
He
runs up
can't go
to.
fast enough.
It's not even that he can't be fast enough. He can use his super speed to run into a situation, knock the person out, and take them to jail. But they can't do that because they need the show to last 45 minutes, or however long the show is.
Yes,
So they have
they have to
Barry.
invent shit.
They have Barry run up to the villain, stop, talk to them. Barry gets slapped around by the villain, who cannot move in super speed, and the villain runs
Right.
away in regular speed. And Barry rushes out of the building where he just got his booty clapped, and then stops outside because he can't find anybody. Barry can run so fast that he can change time. He can essentially make time go in slow motion in flash time.
Yeah.
All he has to do is like walk around and find the person he's looking for, because these people can't teleport. There was one villain who could teleport, and that would be the only problem for him. But she got caught. So every subsequent villain should not be able to get one over on the Flash. One managed to make him slip up on marbles and run away.
The thing about him being able to just warp time, basically, it's like at least with him, they went into a pretty big reason as to why he should not do that. Because Flashpoint. Meanwhile, you got the Zack Snyder version, who can just do that, and there are no repercussions. Which is like, why don't you just do that all the time then?
But also, Barry doesn't have to run back in time. All he has to do is he has the
Just run
ability.
fast.
Yeah, but he has the ability to essentially stop time. Essentially, time has slowed down to slower than a snail's pace for him, and he can do whatever he needs to do at his regular pace. But he never uses it. He never uses all of the abilities he's learned. He doesn't. He can think in super speed, but he
Yeah.
never does. And, you know, these abilities don't really have big repercussions. All he has to do is just eat more. But, you know, I digress. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I'm kind of hungry. We've been going on for almost 2.5 hours, so I think it's okay to end it here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess just to wrap up, are there any adaptations that you would say are very good and should be watched?
Which is
Because I
season
would.
one.
Okay.
Haven't seen it yet, so
I'll give season one a pass. Season two is okay.
Definitely Arcane.
Yes.
Watch Arcane. That's good. Incredible. Even on multiple viewings. It's one of those shows where you watch it more than once and you can find little details that you didn't notice before.
If you want to watch something superhero related, Doom Patrol, I recommend. Um, Young Justice, which is also pretty good.
oh, Young Justice is amazing. At least the first 2 seasons.
Yeah, so I mean, those are the shows I would also recommend if anyone wants like an adaptation that is pretty good.
I like
Mr.
Titans.
Robot.
I never watched Titans, so that's why I didn't want to recommend it.
I've only seen the first
I,
Titans, the first season of Titans. So yeah,
I saw it too. The second, it's like season 2, episode 1,
Mhm.
they. I'll tell you after. But
No problem.
okay,
Anyway,
but
we're
yeah,
calling it here, guys.
Yeah,
okay. Last show, Mr. Robot. It's not an adaptation of anything. It's just a good show.
But that doesn't meet.
that doesn't count. You said
Never mind.
adaptation.
Doesn't count.
It's just a good show. I'm just saying, watch Mr. Robot.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, goodbye, everyone.
Yeah, I'm
Bye,
ending it. I'm
everybody.
not rating. Everybody have a good weekend, rest of your weekend, and a good week. Goodbye.